I'm David Newman, the director of the MIT Media Lab and the Apollo Professor of Astronautics, also affiliated with our Harvard MIT Health Science Technology program. I've been at MIT for 3 decades and it's really my home and family. Here at the Media Lab, we're all about imagining and then inventing a better future, a more just future, a creative future. It needs to be by, with, and for all. We're really an amazing ecosystem, kind of a micro ecosystem of MIT where we have artists and designers, engineers, scientists, and guess what? We're all within the same lab. And so it really is transdisciplinary. And really what we're about is, again, imagining that future, that better future for all. It needs to be by, with, and for all. How do we do that? Through inventing actually new fields. For example, maybe computational social science or affective computing. So thinking about the long haul, a very optimistic view for people and the planet, everything we do is human-centered design. And so thinking about our transformative technologies, but also experiences, and in the future, these systems that really help people maybe reimagine and redesign their lives. We're really excited about the future. That's our vision, our mission, and then shared values. So we work very closely with industry and our members, and it's really important that we all strive for excellence, making sure that our inventions and our ideas are shared as widely as possible. That's when we know we've gotten it right. We do bet on the future, so we bet on those moonshots and how can maybe some of our transformative technologies really have the most societal impact. So recently we've gone through strategic foresighting to really take a look 10, maybe 20 years out, what's potentially the most societal impact given our strengths at the Media Lab, what can we help shape? What can we work together with our industry partners and our philanthropists and founders that really have that view into this future, this inventing that future that we all want to see. So for example, in terms of looking at the future of AI, for us it's AI and the human experience. All of our AI tools, all of our generative tools, they necessarily need to be enhancing the human experience. Whether it's education, whether it's healthcare, this is really foundational and fundamental to who we are at the Media Lab, always designing to enhance that human experience. So AI and the human experience is really foundational for the whole lab. We grew up also educational, but what kind of education and creativity are we talking about? We're talking about making and doing with your hands. So we're talking about cultivating creativity, bringing out the best in everyone, and a lot of times you need to play. That's by being in a maker space. That's by working across the table. I'm a rocket scientist. I need to work with an artist and a designer, maybe a geneticist. Because when we think about bringing out the creativity and education that will really stick, constructionist education, we do a lot of that hands-on. We do a lot of that by play. We do a lot of that in groups, of course, and peer instruction, kids teaching each other. And Scratch is one of our really famous contributions. And when we can scale that to over 100 million users, then we know we've gotten it right. So coming out of the pandemic, we're really bold and bullish, let's say, on let's cultivate creativity. We think there needs to be a new revolution of creativity for all. And so that really speaks to some of the energy, the passion we have in terms of education and creativity here at the Media Lab, working with others. How can we spread that? We're thinking a lot about the planet. I call Spaceship Earth. How do we think about climate sustainability? From the Media Lab's perspective, we have a really bold vision. It goes from oceans to land or urban cities, all the way to space, because today more than 50% of all the climate variables are measured from space, looking down on Earth. And let's start with the ocean. Such an important subsystem. We've invented Internet of Things for the oceans without batteries, so now sensors, you can measure, monitor. We still have 95% of our oceans to measure and monitor. It's really important when we think of biodiversity and the role that the oceans play in climate and keeping us, humanity, in balance with nature. And then we go to our cities. We all want to thrive and flourish. We really have to take a look at the urban cities. How can we redesign? How can we think about that next potential disaster that's coming, whether it's flooding and fire. And we believe in really bringing in all constituents, all stakeholders, whether it's the mayor, the teachers, the educator, and working literally around the table. We show a lot of digital data about the cities and city planning, but we all would love to live probably closer to where we work and have good food and have social, green spaces to live and play in. And so our city science group really looks at these, simulates them. We run a lot of simulations, test beds. We work with cities all around the world because there's different solutions for any place you live.